You're all set.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 13th, 2024 meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board for the City of Reading. I'm going to introduce the members of the board. Tom
Fox, member of the board.
Charlie,
Charlie Jones, alternate member of the board.
Jared,
Jared Bartz, member of the board.
I'm Phil Rabina, member of the board. Bill?
Bill Horst, member of the board.
Okay, thank you. Our meeting, we're going to change the order just a little bit. We're going to do the decisions from last month. Then we're going to do Appeal 2402-003, which is 1220 Center Avenue. And then we'll go to the continued cases and then the remaining cases. So at this point, Mr. Price, Appeal 2024-02, which was 320 North 9th Street.
Yeah, is there a motion to approve the relief requested subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
A motion and a second have been made. Are there questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, ayes have it.
Okay, the next is Appeal 2024-03.
Is
It's
there a vote?
12,
I'm sorry.
excuse me. 2024-03, 1262 Cotton Street.
Yes, is there a motion to approve the relief requested subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
So moved.
second,
There's a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye,
Aye.
All opposed,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Then Appeal 2024-04,
I know.
364
Okay.
Blair Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
I'll make a
So moved.
motion.
There's a motion and a second. Are there questions or comments on the motion?
There it is.
There is. Oh, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. Before we move on to Appeal 2402-003, I neglected to introduce our solicitor, Mr. Price,
Hello, and I have a
and
guest,
our zoning officer, Emily, who we would not do very well without. So thank you.
and I have a guest here from Alvernia College, Michael Garcia. He's a junior. He's in pre-law and he's been kind of shadowing several lawyers in Berks County for the last week or two. And this is just one of his appearances. So he'll be sitting and observing. So don't do anything crazy.
Well, welcome. Well, we're glad to have you, and you're sitting with a really good man. So stick with him.
Thank you.
All right. Appeal 24-02-0003 is 1220 Center Avenue. It's
Whoa.
Rosa M. Abaseda.
Wait, we have continued cases, Mr.
Oh,
Rabin.
I'm sorry. All right.
Locust Street, 1238 Locust Street. So it's my understanding that this was continued for a number of months pending financing, bank financing to add a fourth Airbnb. You've already approved 3 Airbnb units. They're unable to get the financing, so your original decision would stand for the 3 Airbnbs, but they will have to comply with all relevant permits and occupancy codes such as sprinkler systems and such.
Okay.
Is anybody here to talk about that from the applicant's side or not?
The applicant is on.
Okay, did I misspeak or is that your understanding as well, sir?
No, that's pretty accurate. We were having issues getting funding to do all 5 Airbnbs, so we're just moving to add 1 Airbnb. I'm just asking for a little bit more time to continue running the current 1 Airbnb. while I get approval for adding one additional.
Well, this is kind of going on for like a year now. You were given approval for 3, I believe, correct?
Yes, on contingency, but unfortunately I was unable to, the appraisal didn't come in high enough in order to get my financing from the bank. So we had to completely redo the budget down to one additional apartment. So with one additional apartment, I would be able to bring the whole building up to code, install sprinklers, do everything, but only add one apartment instead of add 3 apartments.
How many total will you have?
So I have a total when I'm all finished with 3. So I have 1 that I'm living in. I have 1 Airbnb that's running now, which I'm able to use from the bank to have a business income. And then I'm just adding 1 more. So I have 3 total.
So it'll be total. So how much time do you need?
Oh,
I just need enough time to, right now the bank is reviewing the revised budget. So I'm, last time it took them like 2 months.
It's up to the board. It's up to the board. I mean, they've been very lenient here.
Yes.
It's it's time to fish or cut bait,
I 100% agree, sir. Like I'm doing everything I possibly can to get this through. I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place. If you shut me down, if I can't continue the Airbnb use, then the bank won't give me the loan in order to, because they won't count it as my income anymore if the business is shut down. So I'm just asking for a little bit of time yet. I'm trying as fast as I possibly can.
Well, it's going to have to be, if the board decides to do it, it's going to have to be a hard and fast thing. So your banker knows that a decision has to be made and no more procrastination. So it's up to the board. If you want to give this gentleman 60 days and then it's no, that's up to you. But it sounds like he needs at least 60 days or otherwise it's dead in the water tonight.
I think what I'm gonna do is just very quickly poll the board. Tom, would you agree to 60 more days, yes or no?
No, we don't do this for any other people. He's been given enough time and I'm a no.
Okay, Charlie?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. Bill?
I would say yes.
Jeff?
No.
Jared?
I'm a yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say a no on this.
Okay, so Charlie was an alternate, so that would be of regular members, 3 no's and 1 yes. No, 2 yeses. So it would be a no.
Okay.
So unfortunately, sir, the timing, it hasn't worked out. You can always come back again if this doesn't preclude you from coming back again, but you're gonna have to get this stuff squared away.
Yes.
All right?
So what are my options moving forward? So
I don't know. I think you should get a lawyer and discuss your options. I'm not your lawyer. So you're as of now, the notice of enforcement was that you weren't in compliance. You had approvals to do things. You wanted to do more things. So whatever that original decision was, you're under that.
Mm-hmm. So if I can get a bank approval in the next couple of days, I could come back to a hearing.
You're gonna have to reapply. You're gonna have to
reapply and say, hey, I just want to do 1 apartment and go through that again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Good luck.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, we also have the continued appeal for 532 Elm Street. And this involves off-street parking, conversion of a 2nd floor office space into an apartment. And there's issues that are out there. Before I think we get too deep into the details, I know Mr. Ziegler is there. Mr. Ziegler, you didn't provide a lease, and because you didn't provide a lease, then the zoning office can't confirm that there's enough space in the parking lot vis-a-vis the pew lengths. I mean, that would be a crucial bit of information to have if you want to proceed. So I would suggest you ask for a continuance and get that information to the zoning office so the zoning board can see it.
You're muted.
You're muted, Mr. Ziegler. Sorry.
So it's not so
I'm
much,
sorry, I don't understand what you mean by,
what I mean, what I
all I
mean
thought
is,
is this is for distance. This is the only purpose I thought we were here today.
I can explain the
no,
parking.
Okay, go ahead, Emily.
So Mr. Ziegler, so when we calculate parking, yes, we do allow, leases between private property owners. However, we need to make sure that the church itself has sufficient parking, that they have extra that they could actually lease to you for your use. The only way we can determine that is if we depending on if they have pews or chairs, we need
That's
either the
true.
length of the total pews or the total chairs to then determine exactly how many parking spaces the church needs. And then we also would need a site plan to determine how many parking spaces are actually in the lot. Then once we have that information, we know whether or not the church can actually lease however many spaces that you need.
Well, what I produced is all street parking worksheet signed by a representative of the church.
But it
And that's
doesn't
gonna
have
be
the
one of my
information we
exhibits, and it says, quote, 2 spaces. I don't have any information what the church needs, but I don't rent the property on a Sunday or a Saturday. This is during the week when there are generally no church activities.
But the parking would be for the residential use and it would need to be available 7 days a week.
That's not true. The parking isn't for residential use. The
All right,
parking
let's
is
go.
for the 2 employees in my office.
No,
not
the
true.
That's their
parking
mistake.
required is for the residential use, not for your office.
That's
You don't
correct.
require parking for the office. We're requiring parking for the residential use.
But that's not true. The
right, then
residential
let's go.
use, the
Let's
residents
have the
have their
hearing.
own parking.
Then let's have the hearing. You can present your case and we'll let the facts fall where they may. I was trying to help you out and give you a chance to produce the lease so the zoning office could do their due diligence with the church and help you. But
I'm
since
not trying to get in an argument. I thought the only
we're not gonna get in an argument.
the only issue we had here today was
Put your
whether
witnesses
we
on.
were greater than 326 feet from the parking lot, and we are. That's what I'm
Right.
prepared to present.
Well, you can do that, and I think it's ill-advised because you have people jaywalking to get to the 326 feet. Okay, not going up to the corner. So if you want to
But
go
the
forward,
point is, it's not
Mr.
326
Ziegler,
feet,
Mr.
it's
Ziegler, I'm
500 feet.
speaking. Mr. Ziegler, I'm speaking. So here's the deal. You can ask for a continuance and get the stuff that the zoning office needs to make a decision, which could be very helpful to you, or you can take this tact and go forward. So what do you want to do?
I don't want to antagonize the board or the solicitor by going forward if you think additional information is needed.
Yeah, well, that's a good.
What information do you
hint.
need so I can work on it?
Right, it's not complicated. Get a lease to Emily or Ruth Sassaman so they can go talk to the church and make sure that there's sufficient parking. And run your numbers,
Well,
running up to the corner and
I
cross.
have documentation from the, I have documentation from the church that they have 2 spots available. I have an oral lease, not a written lease.
But that's not sufficient, okay? And run your numbers of the linear feet up to the corner and crossing at the crosswalk, because we're not measuring crossing diagonally across the street for jaywalking. That's not the way you do it in zoning.
Mr.
Well, that's how
Ziegler,
people,
the information that we're going to need is we're going to need, if there are pews, we need the total pew length of all the pews. And then we need to know how many parking spaces are in the lot.
total parking spaces,
Yes,
total parking spaces in the lot,
yes,
total pool lengths and total parking spaces in the lot.
yes, please.
Generally, the board isn't that strict on the linear feet to off-street parking, but you still have to calculate it, and we still have to make sure it's available there 7 days a week. That's what they normally want to do.
Can I make one more point, please?
Sure.
The distance, according to your ordinance, I have to be, because I'm a commercial building, I have to be 500 feet from the parking lane, even
Sir,
accepting what we
that's
consider the.
for-
That's for the
Again,
office. That's not
Mr.
for residential use.
But this is for the office.
No,
This
Mr.
is for the
Ziegler,
office.
Mr. Ziegler, you are not required by the zoning ordinance to provide parking for the commercial use due to the zoning district that you are in.
It's in the commercial core.
Yes, you
There's no
need
off-
parking for the apartment that you're trying to reinstate on the second floor. The apartment needs the parking 7 days a week.
Can I make one more point? The people in that apartment already have off-street parking at another location. I made it clear they had to work that out themselves.
Well,
There shouldn't be people living there. It's not zoned for an apartment.
right. You vacated that permit in 1999 or 2000. So you know what you have to do. Do you want a continuance till next month or not?
Yes, I think I should get a continuance
Okay.
based on the comments.
Okay, there's been a request for a continuance. Mr. Rabina, do you want to poll the board?
Yes, gentlemen, first of all, do you want to consider granting a continuance to next month? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any conversation on it? All right, no.
If you have
All
any
right,
questions about what you need, Mr. Ziegler, call Miss Sassman or Emily yes, and she will give you an email reminding you what you need. It's really a pretty simple thing.
okay, thank you.
Thank you for your courtesies.
Thank you.
All right, the next is Appeal 2402-003, 1220 Center Avenue. Yosario M. Abasida is seeking a special exception 600-607D to relocate existing non-conforming use of the physical therapy office from the second floor to the basement location inside the building, and a variance 600-1703 parentheses E, limit of signs. The subject property is located in the R3 residential zoning district, and the owner of record is Azul LLC. All right, is the applicant present?
Yes. Yes, he is. I noticed his number. Mr. Abaseda, could you
Yeah.
please turn on your
Well, now,
camera?
wait, I have to swear some people in. Let's swear in our zoning officer first, please.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thank you. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, do you want to enter your appearance, Ms. London? And then we'll swear in anybody you want to have testify, and then we'll go from there. If you want to do an offer of proof, whatever, go ahead.
All right, that's fine. Entering my appearance for the applicant, Mr. Abaseda, Joan, middle initial E, London, London, Kozloff Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing 19610. And Mr. Abaseda is present. I recognize his phone number. Mr. Abaseda, if you could turn on your camera, please.
I don't have option for the camera, that's why.
Were you going to do an offer of proof, Ms. London, or not?
I will. That would be fine. All right, first I would like to ask judicial notice of several documents that were attached to the denied zoning permit application and that would be the prior permit 2012-196 for the use for a pharmacy at 1220 Center Avenue property. The zoning approval certification for the physical therapy office that was averred to be a legal continuation of the zoning permit 2012-460, and the decision of the zoning hearing board dated September 14th, 2011, in appeal number 2011-30, appeal of Antonio Sotomayor relative to a property located at 1220 Center Avenue. And that was to allow a pharmacy to operate in the basement of the subject property and the second floor for professional offices. If Mr. Abasieta were to testify, he'd testify that he is a tenant in the property at 1220 Center Avenue owned by Asiul LLC, and that the landlord consents and approves of the application. He has been operating the physical therapy practice in the upper floor space since 2019. There was a retail pharmacy that was downstairs and that left approximately a year ago. That pharmacy was retail. There were customers that were coming in and out of the property. The pharmacy offered delivery and had a fleet of 5 delivery vehicles that would park at the site, and there'd be vehicle trips on and off the site from the pharmacy. In 2023, the pharmacy left that site, and Mr. Abasieta moved the physical therapy practice into that pharmacy space because it was a safer, more convenient access without steps for his physical therapy clients. He didn't believe that there was any necessity of a permit at the time because he believed that the entire building was approved for use as a medical office, lab, or pharmacy. The approximate space of the site he's using now is 2,496 square feet. The area of the upper floor space was over 2,000 square feet. So it's approximately the same area being used between the two uses without significant expansion, certainly below 20%. The building height or footprint is not being expanded in any way for the physical therapy use. He has about 10 or 15 clients per day, stable number since 2019, not expected to change. He has also 4 employees, approximately a client. They're open from their open. Let me get the hours for you.
Ms. London, is this the old doctor's office across from Charles Evans Cemetery?
Mr. Abasieta, if Mr. Abasieta could be sworn, he could answer that.
All right, please
Yes,
raise your right hand.
Yes. Yes, it is the
Do we need,
building in
wait,
front of.
wait, you need to be
Need to
sworn in.
swear you.
Mr. Abasieta, you can be sworn in.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Speak up. You need to speak louder.
Mr.
Okay, yes,
Abasieta, Attorney Price asked whether this was the doctor's office across from Charles Evans Cemetery. Could you confirm whether it is?
yes, it is.
Okay.
And how many employees do you have working for you?
It's 2 full-time employees, include myself, and 2 part-time employees.
Okay, do you expect that number to remain stable going forward?
No, I have no plan. It's just my practice. I do most of the work myself with one physical therapist helping me and 2 assistants, 1 for the front desk and 1 for the aide.
Okay, do all of your employees work under your supervision and direction?
Yes,
Are you a licensed physical therapist?
yes,
And do you have to operate your facility in accordance with the regulations from the State Physical Therapy Board?
yes, I do.
What are your hours of operation?
We open from 8:30 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Is that Monday through Friday?
Monday to Friday, yes. And
Any-
Saturday, it's, go ahead.
And any Saturday hours?
Saturday, if the, like, special, accommodation, we open. If not, we open only like from 9 till 1 if there is some patient. If not, we don't open Saturday.
And how many clients do you generally have at one time in the facility?
Usually we schedule one patient every 45 minutes because the physical therapy take between 45 to 1 hour. So usually we treat one patient at a time.
Now, attached to the application, there was a grading and utility plan, which also showed parking. Emily, if you could put that up on the screen, it was attached with the application. Share the screen.
1 second.
Let me, when did he establish his physical therapy practice on the second floor?
Well, in 2019, I believe April 2019.
And was that when I can't remember his name,
Sotomayor.
Dr. Mayor, and that's when he sold the building to the present landlord?
No, Sotomayor is still the owner. We did not sell the building.
Okay. But you've been operating there for 5 years.
Yes, that's correct.
And next to you is a car repair shop. Down the street is the elementary school, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And there's only one house within probably 100 yards of you, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And
You
you have a parking lot on the site with off-street parking, is that correct?
That's correct.
And approximately how many parking spaces do you have available for use?
For me, in my area, I have 10 parking spots only for our practice for the physical therapy. Only our patients come to. We have 10 only assigned for us.
Okay, and are there others that can be used by your patients?
Yes, I mean, the thing is because it's just close from our door, but the whole parking lot, which is 38, is open for anybody. But the thing is just only like, close to our door where patient can walk few steps, but they can park any spot in the 38 parking lot available for the building.
Now you moved out of the second floor. Is the second floor currently being used?
No, it's not used.
Now then, we have also requested a variance for your sign, and there are photographs of the sign that were attached to the permit denial. What is the reason that you're asking to be able to keep the sign at its current location?
Because we are in the rear of the building, and when any new patient comes to us, he doesn't see where we are. And many people call us, I'm come to the building where you are. We have to tell them just come to the parking lot, make a right to the back. So we have to put a sign in the front so when the patient comes from the main street, know where we are. So sometimes they drive back and forth, they cannot find us.
Okay, and if you're allowed to keep the sign, do you intend to make any changes to the sign?
No, the same size we have.
Are the signs that you have needed to be do they need to be that size so that individuals can see them from the distance?
Yeah, that's correct, because most of, big part of our clients are like, senior citizens and, sometimes wheelchair. So it has to be big enough and, so everybody can see it from the street.
Right. And is that kind of the minimum size that everybody's able to see it from the street?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you believe that the current location of the physical therapy practice and the sign will be in any way detrimental to the neighborhood or change the neighborhood in any way?
No, we've been there for 5 years. I mean, we have no complaint from anybody. Again, the pharmacy was there when we moved in for almost 4 years. And with all these cars and fleet of deliveries, they are out. So I believe now is the traffic is less than 50% than it was when we moved in 2019, because the big part of the traffic to the building was to the pharmacy.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay,
from-
I have one quick question here. Apparently, and Emily, you can help me with this. No floor plans were submitted for the building. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And because they didn't supply any floor plans, you weren't able to determine the correct number of spaces for all the office uses. Is that also correct?
Yeah, we only have the floor plan for the lower level, not the upper levels. I could probably guess and say, oh yeah, they have parking, but just like officially, we need to know how the total area being used for the physical therapy office. That way we can put on the record, yes, they do officially have enough parking.
Do you think that, Ms. London, do you think that your client could supply that information before we have our workshop so that the zoning office could rule on this officially?
If Miss London has the total square footage of the total space that will be used for the office, I could do a quick calculation now.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Mosqueda, could you confirm that the area is 2,496 square feet?
Is that the first or
that's
second floor?
Is that, is that you've given me the number of 2,496 square feet. Would that be the space you're using now, the space you were using before, or the combination?
The 2,400 plus is the space we are using now in the basement.
Okay, so that you are using now 2,496 square feet.
Yeah,
So
but actually we use.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just actually we use the lift because part of this in the basement, all the utilities, room stuff is considered part of the 2,450. So we are not using because too big room has all the air condition, utilities and stuff like that. It's part of the 2,450. But we are actually using lift.
Okay, so in total in the entire building, do you know how many square feet you will be utilizing, not that would be accessible to your patients?
If I take the two utilities room, it will be probably around 2,100.
Okay. So if the measurement of 2,100 square feet is accurate, he would just need 11 parking spaces. His parking lot has 23. So he would have sufficient parking. However, we still do need those floor plans showing the area to confirm that.
Okay, Mr. Abasieta, do you have floor plans available to you, or can you get them easily from your landlord?
Yes, sure, exactly. If you have full plan for the second floor or the whole building, yes, he has all the plan. I can get it as early as tomorrow.
All right, yes, please get them to me immediately. When is the board's workshop?
We haven't decided that yet, but you usually have a week or two,
All right,
but the sooner the better.
we'll get them to you promptly. Thank you.
All right. All right. Any members of the board have any questions of this applicant?
No.
No? Anybody in the audience have any questions of this applicant? Okay. Anything else, Emily?
No, that was the only question I had.
Okay, Mr. Price?
I have nothing.
Okay. Then we'll close this appeal, make a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. The decision will be mailed to you, and we thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for accommodating our schedule. Thank you. Have a good
You're
evening.
more than welcome. Someday we'll need a favor. Anyway, All right, the next matter before us is Appeal 2402 0002 521 Elm Street. Narita Roas is seeking a special exception to establish a daycare facility, 600-808, parentheses 4, parentheses C, and any associated relief for outdoor play area and safe drop-off requirements, 600-1202, parentheses D, parentheses 2. The subject property is located in the CR Commercial Residential Zoning District, and the owner of record is Jose and Nidia M. Pilot. All right, is the applicant present?
I think I need to be sworn in. The interpreter needs to be sworn in.
Do you swear to interpret
swear in?
truthfully, accurately to the best of your ability tonight?
I do, can only certified Spanish court interpreter, and I can now interpret what you said, though.
Yeah, you gotta talk into your microphone clear because it's muffled.
Okay. Very good. Let me add a microphone to you quickly.
Hopefully this is better.
That's very good.
Yes.
Ok, la próxima apelación es la número 2042-002 para el 521 de la calle Elm. La aplicante es Nereida Rojas. Esta solicitante está solicitando una excepción especial para establecer una guardería de niños según la sección 600-808-4C y cualquier alivio asociado para el área de juego al aire libre y requisito de zona segura para dejar a los niños, según la sección 600-1202 D2. La propiedad en cuestión está ubicada en el Distrito de Zonificación Comercial Residencial, Distrito de Zonificación CR. El propietario registrado es José y Nadia M. Bilek.
Okay, thank you. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Se ha
Okay,
dado
Mr.
aviso
Price.
para esta apelación, se ha hecho, sí. Señor Brian.
Mr. Price?
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record.
Voy a poner algunas pruebas en las actas.
Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Algunas de las pruebas materiales que van a poner en las actas es el aviso, la prueba de publicación, la prueba de presentación, la 4 es la aplicación y la 5 es la ordenanza de zonificación.
Okay. Is the applicant represented by counsel?
¿El aplicante o solicitante está representado por algún abogado?
So I'm not seeing the applicant's name on here. I wasn't sure if anyone else that was logged in was for the applicant, but it doesn't appear that the applicant is on.
Okay.
¿Está el aplicante presente? Is the applicant present? No response.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we move to the next hearing?
Yes.
And if these folks don't show up before the end of that hearing, we'll continue it to next month.
All right, that sounds good to me. All right, we're going to move on to appeal 24-02-0004, 1 Berkshire Place. New Cold Reading LLC is seeking a dimensional variance for the building height and temporary use for height of construction equipment, 600-811 parentheses A, and a variance for 600-2005 airport height limitations per the requirements in 600-2011 airport variances. The overall goal is to establish a warehouse facility. The subject property is located in the MC Manufacturing Commercial Zoning District, Riverfront Redevelopment Overlay Zone, Airport Overlay, Steep Slope, and Floodplain Overlays. The owner of record is the city of Reading. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
It has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended. I believe Ms. Frankowski of Plank Frankowski is representing the applicant. Are you there, Ms. Frankowski?
Correct, Mr. Price, I'm here.
Okay, do you want to enter your appearance, and whomever you might decide to have testify will swear them in so that we can keep things moving?
Sure. Kelsey Frankowski on behalf of New Cold Reading LLC, 4 Park Plaza, Suite 205, Wyomissing, PA 19610. And the 2 witnesses that I would have testify, if necessary, after I provide an offer of proof, would be Nick Santoro and Justin Kuhn, who are both on screen.
Okay, we'll swear them in at this time, even if you don't you decide to use them. Okay, Sandra.
All right, both please raise your right hand. Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to ask if the board would take judicial notice of the City of Reading zoning permit denial dated February 23rd of 2024 and the documents attached to it, including some concept plans for the site at issue that were attached, which I think might be helpful for the board to review. If my witnesses were to testify, and they would include Nick Santoro, who is a representative of the applicant, as well as Justin Kuhn, who is a civil engineer for the applicant who designed the concept plans for the project. In sum, both of my witnesses would testify as follows. The property is located at 1 Berkshire Place in the city of Reading. It is located in the manufacturing commercial district, and it encompasses approximately 49.17 acres. The property at issue is currently vacant and was previously used for manufacturing and some attempts at manufacturing in more recent years, but generally it's vacant land. It's currently owned by the city of Reading, and New Cold does have an agreement of sale pending with the city for the property contingent upon the receipt of zoning relief as well as some other due diligence items. The applicant is seeking to develop the property to construct a cold storage warehouse facility on the property that will encompass approximately about 417,000 square feet. The products that will be stored at the facility consist mainly of finished good frozen food products. Think ice cream, ready meals, protein, vegetables, things like that. And the variances that the applicant would require based on their plans to construct this facility would be from section 600-811.a and 600-2011, both of which deal with height restrictions. Section 600-811.a prohibits buildings in the MC district from exceeding 60 feet in height. The applicant is proposing to build a facility that would be approximately 150 feet in height. They would also need construction equipment as far as cranes that would exceed 150 feet in height. So that would be the 2 requests for relief under that section. Section 600-2011 deals with the airport overlay district and certain airport variances and permits that may be needed depending on requirements established by the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, and the Reading Regional Airport. My witnesses would testify that they have been in communication with both the FAA and the airport, And they've been informed that for them, there's not a height issue with respect to the building itself, but that they may need a zoning permit for the height of the cranes, the temporary cranes that will be used to construct the facility. And my client, of course, would comply with any permitting necessary for the cranes to construct the facility, as well as any building height requirements from the FAA or the airport if necessary. My witnesses would also.
Can I ask you a question? Is this facility serviced by that new road that was put in that comes down above Schuylkill Avenue that was to facilitate? Is this the old Dana property? Do you know?
I don't know that. Maybe, I don't know if Nick or Justin can respond to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Justin Kuhn. It is the old Dana property. And you're correct. There was, I think you might be referring to, there's like a little bypass built between I guess it's West Spring and Windsor.
Right.
It's going to be called Ritter Street to facilitate access to the state roadway without coming through the residential district.
Right, and that was specifically done by the city to get tractor trailer traffic up, then Schuylkill Avenue up about 2 blocks and then get onto Route 12.
That's right. That's specifically, I believe, for this property.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make clear.
Yep.
Thanks. No other questions.
So my witnesses would also testify that without a dimensional variance for the height of the building, the project would be economically detrimental to the applicant and would probably render it infeasible. And this is just due to the mechanics inside of the new cold storage warehouses that are used for cooling and the way that the products are stacked to create more space in less square footage. And just for the board's edification, New Cold does have 5 other facilities across the United States. So it is experienced in developing these types of properties to build these facilities. The project would create almost 175 well-paying jobs within the community, and it would create tax revenue for the city. Obviously, right now, since the city owns the property, it's tax exempt. No revenue is being generated from the property. But obviously, if the development were to occur, it would again be subject to taxation. My witnesses would testify that it's a permitted use within the MC district. The warehouse use is permitted, and the applicant's only seeking a minimal dimensional variance for the project. We can also comment that since parking in the city is always an issue, that there will be more than sufficient parking on the property to meet the zoning ordinance, and no relief would be needed in that respect. And of course, my client would have to go through land development, obviously for this project, and intends to comply with any and all requirements set forth in the city's subdivision and land development ordinance, including environmental assessments, traffic impact studies, landscaping plans, and stormwater assessments, and anything else that the city might require. So if the board has any questions for me or my witnesses.
I have a question. My question is this: I believe there is a school and an Olivet's Boys Club facility over in that area. Does this tend to have any effect on either of those, like in terms of traffic or anything like that?
The short answer is no. We've done, the applicant has done studies on and actually designed this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but designed this based on those 2 facilities and tried to move the warehouse sort of as far away from possible as they could from those facilities in order to prevent them from being shaded or from traffic to be sort of inundating or coming close to those property lines. So the response would be no, we don't expect any detrimental impact with respect to traffic, lighting, or even noise.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. Any other board member have any questions?
I do, Mr. Rabina, Mr. Fox.
Go ahead.
I noticed in looking at the diagram, you have quite a few parking spaces reserved for trucks. And I was wondering how many trucks a day will be moving in and out of this installation. Do you have an idea?
Yeah, they anticipate a peak of 20 trucks in an hour on their busiest day. So that's during peak hours, and traffic studies are not really my forte. I don't know if Nick or Justin has a better explanation for that.
No, you're right, Kelsey,
You are?
I'm sorry, Justin Kuhn.
Thank you.
I believe the peak hourly trip is about a 20.
And that's just during the peak hours. That's not every hour of the day.
And this is a permitted use, so really, let me just ask Mr. Kuhn, the modern cold storage warehouses are generally at a minimum of 90 to 100 feet, but have to go vertical because of robotics and things like that, and the mechanicals. Is that correct?
Yeah, what we found in the ones that we've done in the last few years, it's been between about 125 and 150 feet. The last few we've worked on have all been 150. Like you said, with the robotics and things. And that's kind of where you reach kind of maximum efficiency with the cooling and reducing the actual building footprint. If you can imagine, if this was 50 or 60 feet tall, it'd be 3 times the size.
But the height variance that you're requesting doesn't affect the number of trucks, because there's enough space there that you could still put it out and you'd still generate 20 trucks at your peak hour, correct?
Exactly. With these higher buildings, you actually end up with more room on the site for parking and other things.
Gotcha. Okay. And is it true that the city of Reading is supportive, the city administration is supportive of this application?
It is, Mr. Price. The city has been supportive, and I don't know if Mr. Santoro can speak any more to that, but I know that they do. I mean, they entered into the agreement of sale hoping that it can go through and work.
And Steve, our Director of Community Development, Jamal Badal, is on the call if you wanted his testimony.
Does the board need Mr. Abadalo's testimony, or his mere presence is enough to put the good seal, housekeeping seal of approval on the plan?
I think he can just simply say he supports it, and then we have that on the record officially in case anybody ever has any questions.
All right, why don't we put Mr. Abadalo on and have him sworn in, please?
All right. Will you please raise your right hand? Not sure where he is.
Can you see
He's
me?
just there.
Let me see.
I'm here.
All right. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and
All we
gentlemen.
need to hear you say is that you support the project and the city supports the project. We'll keep it simple.
Okay, if you want to keep it simple, I will keep it very, very simple. The city is in full support of this project. New Cold met with the administration and they have done a great work. I can go in length about the school questions. They met with the school, and the school is very supportive of that. The Olivet Boeing Hill place in there. So we are actually covering all the bases, including the parking and the traffic movement in there. Definitely the city is in support of this project. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Mr. Fox, did that entirely answer your question?
Only one other follow-up to that. Could he define the peak times? He said 20 trucks per hour. What do you consider the peak times?
I think that might be more relevant, and I'm not sure that they know that answer yet because they haven't performed an actual traffic impact study, which would be required in land development. I don't know if you can give a general answer as far as your other facilities might go, Justin.
Yeah, I don't have the actual AM time, but the AM, the morning peak hour would generate 33 vehicles, that would be employees, and 12 truck trips. During the weekday AM peak hour, I don't think, I don't have the details in front of me with the study not being done on what hour that is, but I believe they would have done the counts between 6 and 9. So it's going to be an hour within that range. The PM peak hour was a total of 38 automobiles and again 12 truck trips. That count was probably somewhere between 3 and 5 or 3 and 6.
And there will
what are the size of the trucks, sir?
I would say you probably looking max size would be a WB 67, which would be a 53-foot trailer.
I was only concerned, but the study has to be done. The reason I asked for the peak times was you have a lot of school buses running in that area. And I'm just mentioning, I'm support of the project, but I just wanted some clarification on that. And of course, the traffic study will be dealt with in other areas.
And the traffic counts were completed while school was in session. So that will all be taken into account in the study.
Thank you.
We'll be able to give you that information during land development.
Okay. All right. Any other board members have any questions?
Yeah, I do, Phil.
Go ahead.
Two questions. The first deals with the difference in elevation from Clinton Street to the parking lot, as it affects the street itself and also the Olivet's swimming pool.
Yeah, we do not have grading worked out at this point, but from what I've seen, I believe that parking lot will be sitting lower than the Olivet swimming pool.
I would suspect that's the case, but
Yeah.
We want to make sure that, you know, the pool is taken care of and whatever structural support has to be added.
I understand.
Would be part of your work.
Sure. I get what you're saying. Absolutely.
Okay, and the second question, as I look at the plan that's before us on the screen, it looks like your only access is from River Road. Is that true?
The trucks will come River Road, and then we have a small connection to Clinton Street for automotive. That would be employee and office staff only. But all trucks would come in River. And as we talked about earlier, that forces them up there to that new, lack of better terms, that little bypass the city built to get back onto Schuylkill 183 to keep the trucks out of the residential areas.
Okay, so there is a second access down on the Clinton Street. I'm thinking of if there would be an emergency on the property to make sure that the fire officials have two accesses into the property.
Yeah, I think we could look at that automotive access on the Clinton. We could look at running fire truck movements on that. And if we need to widen turning radii or what have you, we could do that. So we had a secondary access point that emergency services could access.
Okay.
All right. Any other board members have any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions?
¿Alguien en la audiencia tiene alguna pregunta?
Okay, seeing none. All right, do you have anything else you folks would like to add?
No, the applicant would rest and request the approval of the application.
I just got one quick question. Do you have any idea how long it will take the FFA to get some kind of approval to you? You know, working with the federal government is a unique experience.
We did get 2 letters already, Mr. Rabina, from the FFA regarding the fact that the building height is not going to be an issue with respect to the airport, but that the crane height most likely will, and that they will need to go through a permitting process with the airport and the FAA most likely for the temporary cranes.
I think you should get approval from the Federal Aviation Administration rather than the Future Farmers of America.
Yeah. Future farmers. Yeah.
On that one, you didn't.
Anyway, well, I guess the one thing that I would say is whenever we reach our decision, you know, it would be dependent upon making sure that all of those things were cleared, and I think you already understand that. So, okay. All right. Anybody else have anything like that they would like to add? All right, at this point, I will close this appeal. The decision will be made at next month's meeting. You need not be here. The decision will be mailed to you, and we thank you. And we did get a very good information packet from you people, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
All right, and we will see you the second Wednesday of April, and we thank all of you and enjoy the spring weather if we continue to get it. So, Mr. Price, I don't know.
Do you want me to have my secretary coordinate either a breakfast or a dinner meeting to have an executive session?
Yeah, I think we should do that. We've got a couple of important things here.
Would you prefer dinner or breakfast?
What do you want, guys? I don't care.
We also need to make a decision regarding the Elm Street daycare. If you want to approve a continuance, the applicant hasn't logged.
Yeah, they didn't log on. So you wanted to grant a continuance for Elm Street?
I will make a motion to give them a continuance.
Thank you, Emily, for reminding us.
Yes.
No problem.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, no comments or questions.
So,
All right, why don't you coordinate a breakfast? That's probably easier, maybe.
You want a breakfast? Okay, I'll have Glenda do that. And then we can get together and everybody have a chance to review their packets before that, and you can make a decision, and then I'll get the stuff prepared.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
thank
you
you,
all.
gentlemen.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
Very
All right.
good. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.